Hello, and thank you for choosing Barclay Enterprises for your touch tone pad needs. We're going to explain the process of how to replace your tone pad in your KXTGA telephone using the DuraPad assembly. First, you're going to assemble your materials that you need. You will need a Phillips screwdriver, a standard small screwdriver preferred, rubbing alcohol, and your DuraPad. The first step in the process is to disassemble the phone. You'll take the phone, turn it over, take the battery cover off, set it aside. The next step will be removing the battery, setting it aside. You'll set the phone down on your nice surface so you don't scratch it, and grab your Phillips screwdriver, unscrew the bottom two screws, and set them aside in a safe place so they don't get lost. Now you have the bottom two screws out. The next step will be to take your small standard screwdriver, holding the phone cupped in your hand. You will lift up the bottom assembly about a ½ inch. At that point, you'll take your small screwdriver, you'll put it in the edges of the plastic, and you'll pry, just like that. You don't want to go into the assembly and damage the insides. However, you'll pry, just sort of twist, and it'll pop open. Turn it over, holding it on the sides, spreading it apart a little bit, and do the same procedures to the other side. In and poke, in and pop. At this point, it will be separated. It'll come off just like that. Now what you'll do is you'll take the bottom assembly, set it down for future use, and now you have it open. The next step is to remove the screw from the antenna with your Phillips screwdriver. Set the screwdriver in the hole, carefully turning, remove the screw, set it aside with your other screws. You should now have 3 screws sitting aside. You'll then take the board, lift it upward, turn it over, carefully not to pull on the speaker wires or the antenna. Lay it down like this. Take the old keypad, take it, set it aside. You now have exposed the board with the debris that you'll need to clean off prior to installing the DuraPad. You'll then take your alcohol,
Put a
little on the rack, and take and wipe. If it's thick and hard to remove, what you want to do is let it soak a little bit. It's kind of like mopping a floor. Then I'm going to take the dry part of my rag and I'm going to wipe just to make sure the alcohol is dissipated and it's nice and dry. Then I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to feel it. I'm going to make sure it's not sticky. Then we're going to take our DuraPad and we're going to peel off the self-adhesive strip off the back using our small screwdriver by just taking it inward, peeling it off. Now you'll see that the corners are notched to accommodate the notches where the button pad falls into. So you will take the upper left-hand corner, you'll have a notch, and on the bottom right-hand corner, you'll have a notch. Just simply line it up with those notches, and looking downward, you're going to align the button pad so that the black contact areas are lined up perfectly with the black contacts on the board. At this point, you've installed your DuraPad. You merely take the board, set it aside. You have your old button pad. Merely take your old button pad in your rag, get some of the additional debris off of it, or install a new keypad if you like. Set it back into the board, and now it fits back into the housing snug. You'll take the board, flip it back around, There's a little tab right there you'll slide it onto. You've got your antenna, which is going to go under the board, such like that. Oops, we left a button out, so easily fixed. Merely take it out, pull the pad back out, put our button in, fold the pad back over, back in the assembly, set our board in, and we'll take our screwdriver and a screw and secure it down in the antenna holder hole, making sure we've slid the antenna inward and that the screw is going through the antenna and the board. Now we'll take the back housing and we'll reassemble it. Starting at the top, it hooks onto the top part, and you merely hold and squeeze, snaps back together, squeeze, the contacts are in there good, we flip it back over, and now it's time to put our screws in. Take the Phillips screwdriver, install the screws, nice and tight, second screw, and now it's reassembled. The next step, let's make sure we don't have any buttons stuck down, because sometimes they get stuck in the housing when you reassemble it. All the line buttons are correct. These buttons are in, but we do have one button stuck down. Just merely pop it out. We turn it over, install the battery, put the cover back on, and we've now installed our DuraPad. Now the DuraPad's installed, we've set it in our charger, and the phone is powered up. You can hear the beep, the display comes on. We can now test our buttons. Before, they were almost impossible to push. Now we can do so with a light push, and we did so with minimal expense and time invested.